Oh, this is how I get my thrills. My mic is on not very much battery. This room is a mess. G'day guys, and welcome back to episode 2 of Willy's Tasting Room. It's still weird to say. Today, I'm going to be taking my taste buds on a trip south, about 7 minutes south, all the way from the penthouses of Johnsonville to a quaint little brewery in Aro Valley, Wellington. That brewery is, of course, Garage Project. Garage Project is truly the darling of the New Zealand beer industry. Founded just 5 years ago, it's worked its way up from a self-proclaimed nano brewery to one of the most recognisable names in New Zealand beer. As the name suggests, Garage Project is located in what used to be a car workshop. The three founders began brewing with just a 50-litre brew kit and the intention of being as daring and experimental as they possibly could with brewing. It wasn't always a success, but their style of brewing has produced some truly unique beers. 5 years on, and their beer is one of the cornerstones of the Wellington craft beer industry. They've grown a bit, but they still brew out of that iconic garage. And I've got a couple of their brews to try out. Righty-ho. So, first up, I've got the Hops on Pointe, which is a champagne Pilsener. Now this one is 6.7% alcohol by volume, so this little can here is 1.74 standard drinks by itself, so this is pretty heavy. Now you would have noticed by now that this one is in a can, and so is the other one. Canning craft beer has been a growing trend recently, and I did a little bit of research to try and figure out why. From what I can gather, the best reasons for canning craft beer are all to do with convenience. They stack more easily, they're easier to open and carry, and they're easier to recycle. Lots of people would argue that beer tastes better when you're drinking it out of a bottle than out of a can, and I would agree, but it's all irrelevant when you're pouring it into a glass anyway. I'm pretty sure that you can't effectively cellar craft beer that's in a can, so that would be one advantage that bottled beer has over canned beer. But mostly people would drink their beer within a couple days of buying it anyway. And the shelf life of beer in cans is similar enough to beer in bottles. So the mystery still kind of stands. There's no definitive reason. Maybe I'll come back to this later. Let's move on for now. Okie dokie, so Rate Beer suggests that I pour this into a tulip glass. It's not going to fill it up. The capacity of this is about a pint, I think, which is 473 mils. You know, I'm going to check. Keep my beer glasses in my closet. It's, 451 mils. 451? Why 451? I don't know. Why not just 450? Just round it down. Who's going to measure it? Not me. That's fine. Not having to struggle with bottle openers and looking like a pleb, that's an advantage of canned beer. I think by the time I've made, I want to say, 400 videos, I'll have learned how to pour. So this one's a little cloudy. It's a pale yellow, and it's, it's got 2 fingers of head. Yeah, it's hard for me to believe that that's 120 mils. I think they've got the measurement wrong on this glass. It suits me. Looks really good in a Pilsner glass. I like the way it looks. For appearance, I'm going to go ahead and give that a 3.5 out of 5. It's a bit plain looking. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a wee bit cloudy, and I don't know how I feel about that. I just looked into it, and I've figured out why it's so frothy. Surprise, it's in the name. It's a champagne Pilsner, so the yeast is champagne yeast, which gives it a more frothy white head. So, retroactively, it wasn't too bad of a pour. I just wasn't prepared for it to bubble like champagne. So I'm going to give it a 4, because the head is actually pretty cool. The head's pretty cool. Alright, I'll have a smell now. It's quite zesty. There's definitely citrus in there. That's probably lemon. Yeah, it's got a real zing to it. I really like it. It smells crisp. Hard to explain, but I know I can tell how it's going to taste now just from smelling that. It doesn't smell like a terribly strong beer, which is, if you didn't know the percentage, you might get in a bit of trouble from drinking this. There's also a hint of spice in there. I mean, I don't know what kind of spice, but it's got a little something else, and I can't quite detect it, I'm afraid. I wish I could. The smell isn't that strong. It's not an especially aromatic beer, but it's a really nice smell. And so for smell, I'm going to give that an 8.5. It's really nice, zesty, fresh, and it's giving me a good insight into how it's going to taste. So now, we'll have a taste. From the smell, I thought it was going to be a lot more crisp. This is kind of heavy, but I mean, I probably could have judged that from the alcohol content. The hops are really coming through quite strongly. But then Willy was a dumbass and forgot to check his stupid mic's batteries. It's reasonably bitter, but it's got just enough sweetness in there to offset that and make it not unpleasant. I'm still getting a bit of lemon in there, but it's more like lemon rind now. You can actually really taste the champagne yeast in there. Like, it's not a normal beer flavour. It's kind of the way that the bubbles stick to the back of your mouth that makes it taste a bit like champagne. So in that, I'd say that you can actually taste a bit of grape in there. But that could just be because the sensation is that of a champagne. This is quite complex. This isn't a simple beer. For taste, I'm going to give this a 16. There's nothing really, really special about it, but there's just enough lemon and just enough elements of the champagne coming through to keep you interested. And it is quite tasty, but it's quite heavy as well. But that's only to be expected from its alcohol content, so I can't really begrudge it that. Mouthfeel-wise, I'm going to give this a 5. This is unique. This is strange. I've never had anything like this. The way that the yeast from the champagne hits the back of your throat and kind of sits there. I've honestly, in a beer, I've never had anything like that. It's strange, but it's exciting and I'm enjoying it. It's not overcarbonated. For a Pilsner, it's a little heavy, but I think that's really offset by the way that the champagne bubbles interact with the beer. For overall experience, I'm going to give this an 8. The mouthfeel was really unique, and it presented a new set of sensations for me. But overall, though the taste was good and the smell was good, it was just lacking something, you know? I do enjoy this, and I recommend it, obviously. Giving it a pass, I recommend all beer. This kind of beer just displays all the characteristics of Garage Project as a whole. They've tried something different, and it's made it unique, it's made it interesting. I wouldn't say it fell flat on the flavour or the smell or anything like that, but you know, it's nothing hugely special. So tallying up those marks, that comes to a 41.5 out of 50. And that translates to an 83%, which is an A-. So I give this beer an A-. It's a very good beer. Smash it back now. Please still be alive. Oh no. Don't tell me you lost. That is hyper awkward. Probably going to have to use the camera audio for this. Apologies for the sound quality on this one. Probably should have had the foresight to replace the batteries. Well, can't be helped. Main disadvantage of using something that doesn't record straight to your computer, battery life. Alrighty, moving right along to the next one I have here. It's called Death from Above. Now I had a little read about this. This is a really complex, interesting, experimental kind of beer. And again, it's just characteristic of what Garage Project does. Death from Above combines mango, Vietnamese mint, lime and chili with Centennial, Amarillo and Citra hops. It's 7.5% alcohol by volume, so this can 2 standard drinks by itself. So this is a heavy hitter, and apparently it's going to be spicy. I'm mad keen for spicy beer. Yes, please. Rate Beer recommends I use a tulip glass for this one, so I will. So, first impressions. This is a deep orange. It's a little cloudy, and it's got, 2.5 fingers of head. You ever seen Harry Potter where they're drinking butterbeer? This is what I imagine butterbeer would look like. I imagine it doesn't smell like it though. Appearance-wise, that makes me want to drink it, the way it looks. I'll give it a 4.5. This looks like something I'd want to drink on a cold night. Just a pity that I do all my drinking in the afternoon. So I'll get a smell now. Wow. Huge hints of orange. I can't remember if it said orange. Doesn't say orange on the can, but that's the citrus that I'm getting. It's all orange, all of it. You know when an orange is slightly overripe? Like a segment of it is overripe, the rest of the orange is like tangy and kind of sour and sweet, and then you get that one overripe segment that just tastes a little bit weird. That's how this smells. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but that's the kind of orange that I'm getting from this. I think I'm smelling a bit of the mango too. So I don't know what I'm meant to be smelling, but I think orange and mango are the main things that are coming through. So it's definitely the hops. I'm getting citrus, orange, and stone fruit, mango. I might be getting a little bit of spice in there, and that would obviously be the chili, but I think that might just be me wanting to smell it. For smell, I'd give this an 8.5. It's giving me some really heavy hints. It makes me happy to be able to detect those so perfectly. I can really get the orange, and I'm definitely getting enough of the mango to be able to identify it. It feels like I should be getting more. You know, there's the chili and mint, I think it was. It's still good though, really good. So I'm gonna have a taste now. Wow. First impressions aren't good or bad. You know the orange smell I was talking about? It's how it tastes too. It's like a really bitter orange. There's definitely a bit of heat in there. Yeah, no, the heat's coming through. That's cool. Things like that in a beer are super cool. I've had a spicy cider. That was awesome. But I've not had too many spicy beers, and I'd like to see if I can find a few more. I think there's hints of other citrus in there too. I think more specifically than orange, it's actually mandarin. There's meant to be lime as well. I don't know that I'm getting that. I'm just not sure how I feel about how bitter it is. It hits the back of your throat and just, oh, bam, that's so bitter. It says this is an Indochine Pale Ale, so gotta lump it in with IPAs. And for an IPA, this is very different. They've done a lot of things with the flavour. This is the kind of thing that I find really difficult. I'm trying to be objective. I'm not a huge fan of the way the flavours fit together, but I know, I can tell that they're fitting together the way they should be. Nothing if not flavoursome. This is, it's full-bodied. It gives your taste buds a real kick in the taste buds. So for taste, I'm going to give this a 17.5. I think that the bitterness is really overpowering, and it says it's about balance. I don't think they've necessarily achieved that balance. You get the orange, bitter. You get the mandarin, bitter. You get a little bit of mango, it's still bitter. You get a little bit of chili, ooh, spicy. Mouthfeel, that's a 5. That's really good. There's nothing wrong with this. Carbonation's perfect. It's smooth, and that's good because it's so full-bodied that if this was any less smooth than it is, it would be painful to drink. So yeah, it's really good. For overall experience, I'm going to give this an 8. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of this. I can tell that the flavours go well together, but they don't really do it for me. However, the chili that's in there, that warms you from the belly up. It warms your whole throat up. This is definitely not one that you can throw back. Absolutely not. And yeah, I mean, it's 7.5%, so why would you want to? So, tallying those marks up, that gives us a 44.5. That's 89%. So, 1 mark off that A+. That's an A for this beer. Not quite in the top tier, but it's still a really good one. So that's 2 more beers down into the bank. We're up to 5 so far. If you've made it this far, thank you again for watching. I'm planning on releasing 1 beer review episode a week, probably on Fridays. Get that beer in you on a Friday. So if you've enjoyed these beer reviews, these 2 so far, why don't you subscribe and you'll be able to see it every Friday. I know I said I wasn't going to do more than 1 beer per episode, but I was fooled by the size of these cans. You can have a look at the 2 other beer videos I've done here. And if there's a beer that you'd like to see me review, why don't you scroll down to the comments and let me know what it is. I'll see you around, guys. Such a pity about you. You gave up. You had battery, but you gave up. You refused to record. F*** you.